Mic check 1 2. It's the Y2K collector. And back in 2022, I decided to take my family to our very first video game expo. We were in New York, and I decided to take everyone to the Long Island Retro Expo, and it was a really great time. It wasn't like life-changing or anything, but it was a great way to spend like a Saturday, like early afternoon. We didn't stay there all day. We stayed there for a few hours. There were a good number of booths there, with a lot of folks selling a lot of just different games. There were a few things that I liked about it, and then there were a few things that I didn't, and just a few things that I learned while I was there. So one of the first things that I really liked about it was the fact that they had this like setup that allowed you to try out a wide range of systems, like a wide range of old school systems. So like systems that certain consoles I had never even seen before in person, I was able to see and actually play. So I played like a 3DO, I played a Commodore 64, I got to play a Virtual Boy, I got to play just a whole bunch of consoles that I had never played before. And I thought that was really cool, just being able to experience that. They also had some pretty cool arcades there that I thought was really fun. And I thought it was just cool that, like, even if nothing else, you could have just spent the entire day just going from station to station, playing a bunch of just different systems. And I mean, it felt like they had every single system there. So being able to go there and do that and experience that was for sure a highlight of the weekend, or of the day rather. Something else that I thought was really cool was the fact that you had all the different booths there with a whole bunch of different, vendors who were selling all types of stuff that I thought was pretty cool. There were some vendors there that I was familiar with, and, I thought that they had pretty good selections. And it was a cool thing. The day that I went, it was actually, I think it was the last day. It was either the last day or the second to last day of the expo. And so, like the time that I was there, a lot of the vendors that were there, they were, kind of making their last minute deals. So if you were looking to get a good deal on a game, like I noticed like towards the end of the day, like a lot of vendors were like dropping their prices. They were, I'll give you 20% off. I'll give you this percent off. I'll give you $5. I'll give you $10 off, whatever the case may be. Which, I figured, that was cool. That was probably just, their way of trying to get rid of as much inventory as they could. And, I'm not knocking that. You got to do what you got to do, right? You got to make money. So I thought that the overall experience was pretty cool. There were a few things that I did think, though, that were overrated about the experience. One of them being some of the deals you get. Now, if you're going to, I think the best games to try and pick up at a retro gaming expo are like common games that aren't rare, and games that aren't super expensive, but games that are maybe like mid-tier games, like basic games. Like I think games that would normally be in the $20 to $25 range, between like 10 and like $25, those are the games that I think are best to pick up at those expos, because usually you'll be able to get a better deal on those, especially if you make bulk offers for those types of games. And I think you can do well if you go after games that like no one's really like looking for or really seeking for. I think a lot of times people go to gaming expos, like everyone's looking for the same thing. They want Pokemon, they want Earthbound, or I want to try and find a you know, a Pokemon box, or I want to try and find, you know, some rare GameCube game. But I think if you go there looking for like the mid-tier games, even some of the games that you might find at like a GameStop, I feel like that's where your bread and butter would be, and that's where you could probably get the best deals um, at a gaming expo. Um, I also think that it's a really cool place to kind of have that camaraderie amongst other gamers and those who are really into the hobby and who really share that interest. I think that that's a really cool thing too. And it's definitely an experience, right? Like if you're into the experience of connecting with the gaming community and connecting with other gamers, then my recommendation is definitely check it out. I don't think that a gaming expo is a place that you should go though to try and buy like video games or build a collection or even buy a rare game. These days, and you guys can roast me in the comments. You've been roasting me all day for my emulation videos. And by the way, I'm just talking in these videos, right? Like I don't claim to be an expert. Some of the things that I might say might be wrong, but that's the beauty of the comment section. You guys can go down there and correct me all night long about anything that I mention that's wrong, right? But in my opinion, and I've gone to a gaming expo before, so I've had the experience. I feel like a lot of times if you're looking for extremely rare games, you're better off, honestly, like online sometimes, like making offers. Now, someone commented on one of my recent videos, and it seems like they said something like, man, it seems like the only thing you have in your collection are like rare and expensive games. And that's not true. Here, look, I'll prove it. Come on. Look at this PS3 collection. These are not rare and expensive games by any means. Neither are these 360 games. Not at all. We've got some more PS3. Maybe some of those are a little bit rare. It just so happens that I collect for retro systems. So some of my games are going to be a little bit more on the rare side. And also keep in mind that what you're looking at when I show these games, this is what's left of my retro collection. Remember, well, if you're new to the channel, then you won't know this, but those who have been following my channel for a long time, you'll know I had a much larger Dreamcast collection than this. I had a much larger PlayStation 1 collection than this. I had a much bigger PS2 collection. It just so happens that I sold a lot of my more common games for those systems. So now it just looks like all I collect are rare and expensive games, but I guarantee you that is not the case. It just so happens that I wound up selling a good chunk of my collection, and the stuff that I kept happened to be the stuff that's a bit more rare and expensive. Even when it comes to like my really, really retro stuff, I had way more Sega Genesis games than this, way more Super Nintendo games than this. It wouldn't have fit in this little like mesh shelf that I had here, but I only kept the stuff that I really wanted. And Final Fight is not a rare or expensive game by any means, but it's a game that I kept because it means something to me. Same thing with a game like Cold Shadow. It means something to me, but I'm digressing. Do I think a gaming expo is where you should go if you're looking to build a collection? No, I don't. Because I feel like you're going to wind up paying more for whatever games you're looking for at that gaming convention, unless you're looking for stuff that's easy to find stuff. Because usually that's the stuff that folks are willing to let go of faster and at a cheaper price. But if you go to a gaming expo thinking that you're going to be able to pick up like Earthbound at a really great deal, you're not. The other thing is, I don't want you to be disillusioned. You know, a lot of times we watch videos on YouTube of YouTube, video game YouTubers who share their experiences at expos, but your experience at a retro game expo isn't going to be the experience of like a Retro Rick or I don't know, whoever you might think about, because these people are really known. They have a lot of friends. Some of them do it full time. They have actual video game stores. I think Retro Rick actually has a day job. I think he actually has a job and he does like all the gaming stuff on the side, but unless you're doing this at a near full-time level, no one's really going to know you. So if you're going there thinking you're just going to be able to link up with a bunch of people and make a ton of friends, like, yeah, you'll meet people and people will be nice and they'll be cordial, but you're not just going to show up and now everybody's your friend, because no one's going to know you. I mean, unless you're already known. So I'm the type of person that I do not want to be known. That's why my channel has always been faceless. I've never really been into being famous. I don't want anyone to know me. I don't want to go to a convention and have people say, hey, you're the Y2K collector. No, I'd rather sneak in a convention. You do not know who I am. A lot of times when I go to conventions, I don't even want to talk because I'm afraid someone's going to recognize my voice and say, hey, man, are you the Y2K collector? Like, I wouldn't even want to talk. But I saw that to say that retro conventions are cool, but just don't be disillusioned about the experience you will have when you get there. I think they're great. I think you can meet cool people. I think you can find cool games. I don't think they're the place that you should go if you're looking to build a collection. I think if you're looking to just immerse yourself in the gaming community, it's definitely worth the experience. So I would definitely say paying for the experience would be good. And I'll end off on this note. You know, I've been making a lot of videos about emulation, and I think people have gotten a little bit confused when I talk about the games you can't emulate. I do believe that you can emulate almost any game. I do believe that. But when I say that you can't emulate something, I'm really talking about that experience, that feeling. You can't get that feeling. And so you might be a person who says, screw feelings. Feelings are for wimps. If that's how you feel, then great. But me, I collect all this crap because the experience does matter to me. Flicking on a Super Nintendo system does matter to me. Playing on original hardware does matter to me. And you know what? It matters to a lot of other people too. But there are also a lot of people who don't give a crap about the original experience. They just want to play the game. They don't care if they play it on Steam, on PC, on Retron, on analog. They do not care. They just want to play the game. And to you, sir or ma'am, I say Godspeed. Choose the route, choose the path that best works for you. But as for me and my house, we shall play the original hardware. It's the Y2K collector. Let me know what you think about these gaming expos that have been going on. Do you find value in them? Do you go to them? What are your thoughts? Let me know. It's almost Friday. It's been a long day. My batteries are running down. And I will probably knock out here soon. Hopefully, you have some really cool stuff planned for the weekend, and I will see you there. Take it easy.